Welcome to
Split the Defense,
where Jordan Webster, Ted Evans, and Craig Pearce talk about the NHL and all things hockey.
Split the Defense
Can be found wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. It's also broadcasted on Amherst Island Radio, 101.3 FM, and online at CJAI.CA.
Welcome to Split the Defense Hockey Podcast. Coming to you live on Twitch and YouTube. And all episodes can be found after recording on our YouTube channel and all your favorite podcast streaming apps. Just search for Split the Defense. To find us online, just search for Split the Defense on most social apps or at STDP Hockey on X, formerly known as Twitter. Follow, like, and subscribe. It's like paying internet currency and it's free from you. I'm Jordan Webster, alongside my co-hosts, Craig Pearce and Ted Evans, who runs production for the show, making everything look and sound on point. Ted also creates all the music you hear during Split the Defense Hockey Podcast. Ted also has COVID right now and is still going to champ out a show with us.
That's right. That's right.
Get some claps here. Come on. Woo!
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, let's get that. Thank you. Thank you,
Yay,
everybody.
Ted.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ted, for joining us. So, how you feeling?
I'm okay. Getting to the end of it, still kind of a really puffed up head. It feels like my sinuses are all congested, but and I'm still on the 5-day thing. I gotta stay away from work and stuff. Don't want to pass it on to anybody. So I'm here at home.
Yeah, good for you. Quarantine. Yeah. That sucks. All right. This is not the way I want to start the show, but it's really sad news, and it's very important that we discuss this. Calgary Flames assistant GM Chris Snow remains on life support after suffering a catastrophic brain injury caused by cardiac arrest. Chris Snow is the AGM for the Calgary Flames, and he had ALS. And that is a big thing that's been on Twitter for a while. His wife, Kelsey, has been posting a lot about it, and he's a champ. The guy's been totally been a warrior and a champion through this. And we were hoping that his fight was going to be a lot longer than it had been. She posted yesterday a really sad screenshot of something she wrote, and it says, "With a shattered heart, I've come to share that yesterday Chris became unresponsive and went into cardiac arrest. Paramedics and doctors were able to get his heart beating again, but devastatingly, a scan showed that Chris has suffered a catastrophic brain injury caused by a lack of oxygen. His doctors do not expect him to wake up from this. My chest feels cracked open and hollowed out. Chris is the most beautiful, brilliant person I'll ever know, and doing life without him feels untenable. Hug your people." So we didn't know if he was going to wake up yesterday, and today tests yesterday confirmed that Chris will not wake up. In life, Chris offered his body to a clinical trial to help others. In death, he will do the same. He remains on life support while organ donation is arranged. We are so proud of him.
Wow.
So that sucks. Sportsnet reports Leafs GM Brad Treliving has flown to Calgary to be with the family of his former assistant Chris Snow. Battling ALS, Snow became unresponsive and went into that cardiac arrest. That was on Monday or Tuesday, I believe. And Chris Snow is a husband, father, Calgary Flames VP of Data and Analytics, and a former TCS live presenter. The Snow family is in the hearts and the thoughts of the Split the Defense crew.
Definitely, yes.
So, hard right turn. It's never easy to get out of these things, but last week we were worried about Josh Norris, and it is not a diss on Josh Norris or the Ottawa Senators saying he's hurt all the time. It's saying it sucks that such a talented player doesn't get to play in the league because, guys don't stay in Ottawa anyway, so he'll play for somebody else eventually. So after tweaking his surgically repaired shoulder just before camp started last Thursday, Norris shed the non-contact jersey he wore the first 5 days for a skate with the players who weren't facing the Habs and looked good by participating in all the drills at the CTC. Whether he'll suit up Friday against the Winnipeg Jets at home remains to be seen, but the decision by the medical staff to allow Norris to take contact is a sign that his recovery from the minor ailment he suffered is headed in the right direction. So DJ Smith quoted, "Today's practice will have a lot to do with it, and we'll have to see how he feels. We're not going to put him in a situation if he isn't 100% mentally there, and doctors haven't cleared him to play in that game, but he's really close. He also added he's going to play in a couple of exhibition games for sure. Is it Friday? I don't know. Is it out east? We'll see. Today's practice and Thursday's practice will dictate a lot of that.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
looks like Norris will be back sooner than later. He's going to play a few exhibition games, not going to miss any regular season. Good for the Sens, bad for the
Yeah.
Leafs.
Yeah.
Let's
I
be
mean,
honest.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Good for the Sens. It is still concerning though that he's tweaked his shoulder, but I mean, hopefully everything goes well for him.
Hopefully. So if you look at this top six,
For
could
Ottawa.
you guys each just take 10 seconds, 20 seconds and think about it? Compared to the rest of the league, it's a group of good players. And
It is.
I want you to tell me if you think that it's in the top third, the middle third, or the bottom third of the league for that top six.
For top sixes. Yeah. So we've got Brady Tkachuk, Tim Stützle, and Claude Giroux, Vladimir
I like it.
Tarasenko, Josh Norris, and Drake Batherson. So that is
All
quite
very
the
good
top
players.
six. Yeah.
That is a good top six.
Yeah, undeniably. I'll say they're within the top. I think there's lots of teams though that have a scary top six, but I think Ottawa's one of them this year.
Yeah, I think that like they definitely have a dangerous top six. Is it? Yeah, I'd say it would be top 10. I don't think their team is top 10, but
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
I think
Yeah,
that,
but is their top six top 10?
yeah,
That's
I
a
think it
deadly
is.
looking
Player
top
by player,
six.
I think.
It's
Yeah.
super deadly. Yeah, I really like it.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't really shout superstar
Right.
for every player, but you've got every one of them I could call a high-end star.
Yes.
Like, even Batherson proved when he's been playing, that man scores. He fills the net. Like, he's
Yep.
very
Yeah.
good.
I think Tim Stützle is a star player. I think that like give
I
him
think
another year
Kachuk
or
and
two.
Stützle they're both superstars. They're both
Yeah,
they're going
yeah.
to be or they are already superstars. Stützle and Kachuk, I would say. Tarasenko, he's not a superstar. I don't think he was always a star, but he never
Yeah.
really reached that superstar status. Josh
Everyone-
Norris has been hurt. Claude Giroux, I guess he was a superstar. I guess we could call him
Oh,
in
yeah,
his days.
he was, for
He was a
sure.
very,
Yep,
very
yep.
big superstar, but he's aged, right? So
Yes.
he's not now. I would consider him a
No.
star.
Yeah.
He's still
But
a
he-
star player.
He's a good
Yep.
third person on a line, though. You know, like he doesn't have to carry the line, but he's a good complementary player.
Yeah, offers the
everyone's always
experience.
called Tarasenko Ovechkin light because he's like, he's kind of has the same playing style. He likes to hit. He's a bit of a shooter. So yeah, I like the top six. Yeah.
Oh, all right. Moving on to things we actually care about. We
Yep.
didn't get into this last time, boys, and we really have to. We're going to take a serious amount of time on this time, probably. And I'm sorry, Ted, but you have to get in on this.
Okay.
Leafs preseason.
Yes.
So we've had 3 games, and we're going to kind of break them down, talk about them, and if anybody has any thoughts or memories from watching those games, we'll just go talk about that. So in game 1, the lineup was led by William Nylander and Max Domi. They also had Sam Lafferty. He's a regular. For on the back end, they had Morgan Riley, Connor Timmins, and Kyle Clifford, who's played a bunch of games for the Leafs, but he's definitely not a regular. Young Matthew Nyes. That's about as many as you had of the actual NHL guys who've played actual NHL games. Everybody else was a kid, and it wasn't the best game. Would you say that, Craig?
No.
There was 23 shots for the Sens in the first period.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of talked about this a little bit, but like, it doesn't count. Okay, I don't care what the score is by the end of it. Even the Leafs winning yesterday, like, I don't. It doesn't. I'm just looking at our lines vibing together. What's it look like? But yeah, I mean, I wasn't sad that they lost, but was there anything to you that like stood out about that game in particular?
That one?
Yeah,
That
like I kind of have things to say about like in general about how these games have been looking, but do you have anything about like that game in particular?
that first game, all I could think of, and it's just this game. It's a very boomer take, but that the kids were the only ones trying.
Yeah.
You could see
Yeah.
it. They worked really hard, and they looked really good. Some of those young kids on both teams, they looked really, really good. Guys I'd never heard of before. They were outworking the guys who were there that are going to be on the team. And
That's why preseason's fun, I think. I mean,
I think
that's
it's
why I
got to
like
be like,
preseason.
what is it, like 10% luck, 20% skill, 15%, or I don't know.
Hey, you had it. That was it. Yeah.
Yeah, and but
Yeah.
there's got to be skill, but there's got to be will, right? There's got to be more will than skill. And when these guys go out there and out will, these kids look pretty good. William Lagesson and Alex Steves scored for the Leafs, and Timmins recorded 2 assists. Stützle had 2 goals, and Kachuk with the game winner. So the Stars showed up on the other side, and not on ours. But they dressed their top line versus our third. But you know what that means? We went into game 2 with our top line versus their third. So,
Yeah.
Well,
leading the second game was Tyler Bertuzzi, Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, Ryan Reeves was in that game, Nick Robertson, David Kampf, Noah Gregor, who I really hope is on this team.
yes. Yeah.
And then Giordano, Klingberg, McCabe, those guys were all playing as well. So the Leafs went down too early in that one. And then Cowan. Easton Cowan, man. What a player. He took a penalty going to the net, and they called him a penalty shot. He didn't score on it. But the next opportunity he had in the power play, don't even know who fired it up to him. But beautiful passing play on Cowan's stick, and he knocked it in the back of the net. Easton Cowan, he's going to be a player, don't you think?
Oh, that guy, like, I don't want anyone to think that I think this guy's going to play in the NHL this year, but, you know, in 1 or 2 years, that guy is an everyday player. He's a top 6 player. I think he ends up on the wing of one of the top 2 lines, and yeah, that guy, I loved everything I saw from him. He is way stronger than I thought that he would be looking like playing against NHL players. Like, I didn't see that guy get knocked around at all, and he's actually someone who initiates the contact. So, yeah,
and he's 5'11", 185. He's my size.
yeah. I don't believe that. I feel like that's not updated because like he either just carries it really well, or like I feel like he's bigger than those actually say. You know, like did you not feel like the same way? Like he's, unless like what's Zach Zach Hyman's weight? Because like he kind of
he weighs like 205 or 209 or something like that. He's a big boy.
Yeah. Like I felt like he played not quite to that size, but yeah, like I couldn't believe how he played. Yeah,
I agree. Yeah, Easton Cowan reminds me of a Zach Hyman light. Absolutely,
100%. Yeah,
definitely. Bertuzzi in game 2, man. Something that stood out for me in game 2 is that he's the first time I got to see him play with Matthews and Marner, right? He kept the puck in so many times. He made so many sick passes. It was so much fun watching him play with those two.
Yeah. That's going to be an amazing line for sure. Yeah. I feel like even just by the end of it, it took a little bit for them to start to vibe, but I felt like give them after 10 games into the season, those guys are going to be just vibing, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're going to be deadly if they get going, honestly. Like having a third like Tyler Bertuzzi on that top line, I think is really, really going to help those two.
Yeah.
Talk about skill and will. So Chychrun made it 3-1 after that. Chychrun's looking like a good player. Remember all the talk about the Leafs in on Chychrun, and then he ended up with the Sens.
Yeah.
And that's just because they didn't have to take any cash back to do the deal. The Arizona didn't. That's the only reason. That's not the only reason, but that's one of the massive reasons that Chychrun ended up a Sen. But
I still don't.
Too bad.
I didn't want them to get him though, because like that guy's has he played a full season? I think he played.
I don't know, man, but when he plays, that guy can wire.
Yeah, I agree, but I just it wasn't worth the assets to me, and he got injured at the end of the season after he got traded to Ottawa. So, yeah, he is definitely he's great.
Right.
It'll be interesting to see, like in Ottawa, if Shabbat or Chychrun ends up being the power play 1 guy, because I think that they should give Shabbat more of the defensive shutdown, and then Chikrin can just be their offensive specialist. Similar to what like it seems like the Leafs are doing with Riley and Klingberg. Like I think Riley's going to end up, him and Brody will be the shutdown pair, and then Klingberg
That's
will
not going to be good.
You know, Klingberg will be the offense. But yeah, we can talk about the defense if you want. Like,
Craig, do you have faith in that?
No.
Yeah, no, neither do I.
The more I thought about this, like I at first was like, yeah, maybe they're like underrated and there's a wild card in there. And there is a wild card, but I feel like if Klingberg, like he already had a bunch of mistakes where he left his other D partner high and dry. And like he has looked good. He's smooth passing. I feel like that will, like as he gets more familiar with the Leafs passing lanes, they'll start to click a bit more. But he is worrying me. I watch him and I go, ooh, that number 3 just looks too familiar.
Oh my.
I was like, oh God, that guy's in a position and it's number 3. And yeah, we all remember Justin Hall. So yeah, I think that there has to be a move. And actually Connor Timmins, if we can move into game 3, Connor Timmins was just unbelievable. And
Connor Timmins is leading the preseason in points, man. He is a stud. He's a rocket. Like, I don't even know what to... If he doesn't make the team, I'm going to be down Maple Leaf Square and just be protesting.
Right,
Pitchforks and torches, buddy. Like, what is happening?
He'll be gone. If he doesn't make the team, he'll be gone.
Oh,
He's
my
put
gosh.
on such a performance that
they
now...
can't put him on waivers.
I know. So this has created a whole new discussion because everyone thought that right away that he would go and pass through waivers and it would be no problem. Like he's passed through, I think, before, but now there's no way. Like Liljegren would have a better chance of making it through waivers at this point. And
he wouldn't make it through waivers either.
Neither would either. Yeah.
No, he would not make it through waivers. At no chance.
There has to be a trade coming because, like, if you look at their cap situation, you can't keep.
No, Kelly Ehrenkrok's hurt.
Well, okay. If
we'll
that
talk
stays,
about that later.
yeah, it's just like I can't see how, unless there's injury, like how they ice a team without being in cap trouble, or you're just losing someone. So I think you get ahead of it and you trade someone before that happens. But
that's fair. So getting into game 3. We had a little bit more of a mix-up. We saw Robertson and Domi on the same team. And Tavares made his first appearance. And we saw Martin Jones played really good net in that game. My favorite part of game 3, I think, was the Gregor, Lafferty, Holmberg line.
Oh, that could be a line.
That's a line.
That could be a line. I was shocked. Like, I'm not sure how you ever do that because Holmberg's not going to make the team. Sorry, but I think that like in a pinch,
that's your third line, man. That's the one. Like if they could learn how to score, Gregor's known for being fast and scoring.
Yeah,
right?
But we're running out of like. There's too many players on the team at this point. You know, like you got to start subtracting if you're adding Holmberg. Well, then there's not enough slots on the team to.
People get hurt.
Yeah, that's what I said. Everything changes if someone gets hurt. You know, anyone.
Yeah.
But anyone that makes over the 1.1 million, you know, then that's going to make a real difference. That's the problem that the Leafs are in here is the team that you prefer might not be the team that's iced just because of the cap situation.
Yeah, that's fair. Speaking of injuries, Bobby McMahon. We talked about him a little while ago, not sure whether he was going to be able to play or not. Bobby McMahon, although he had been out with a knee injury, revealed that most of what was keeping him out of the lineup last season was a lingering adductor injury that also affected the knee and groin. He is working his way back, though. So he may not be back for a bit. It's really too bad Bobby McMahon's not going to be back. He's like a crowd favorite. Everybody I know in Leafs Nation loves Bobby McMahon. He plays the game a really, really nice way. Up and down the ice, he's fast, he's big, he's strong, he shoots the puck in the net. Like the guy had a stupid amount of goals. What do you have? Like we read the stat, it was like 21 goals in 30 games in the AHL last year or something. Stupid.
I think it's funny. Any player that is on the Leafs that just skates hard and plays hard just becomes like everybody's favorite player. Jeez. It's like it's not hard to be a crowd favorite in Toronto. Just work hard and maybe just drop the gloves like just for fun here and there, and like all of Leafs Nation is gonna love you.
Don't do stupid shit with the puck.
Yeah. Do the simple stuff, and it's a really a blue collar fan base because like
it is.
Everybody,
we want you to take the puck and skate up the ice and put it in the fucking net. Like, just shoot the fucking puck. That's all we want you to do. We don't want you to spin around and no, that's not good, and spin around and no, that's not good, and like, oh my god, those guys, and they do nothing, and every time they go down, it's a break for Kerfoot, and he takes it around the net, and he turns back towards the net, and he turns back towards the blue line, and he loses it. Oh fuck.
I can't. My favorite thing about this season is the people that we don't have to talk about. Is like
those guys drive us nuts. But guys like Bobby McMahon, take the puck, go towards the net, lose the puck, hit somebody. Like, love you, Bobby McMahon. I hope
dump
that guy
it in
comes
and
back
hit someone.
soon.
Yeah,
hope that guy comes back soon. So Matthews has a quote on Bertuzzi's style. So I made a little picture to show what he's talking about with Bertuzzi's style. Matthews had this to say. He says he's got hilarious style. The skate tongues hanging out, the flow all over the place, the tape-free knob, the tape on the blade or the non-tape on the blade. He's got it going on for sure. So you'll see you got the skate tongues hanging out. You got the the stick. You got the stick's got no tape on it on the blade. It's just got no knob, no cap, even in the top of the stick.
I was just looking at that. That's not even a cap.
Psychopath.
No, it's no cap. He's a psychopath.
Crazy.
Yeah. And then that big flow just hanging out. Yeah. Oh, Tyler Bertuzzi's going to be a lovable player, man. We're going to like him. He can dip and dangle all he wants because he's the right kind of player to do it. Because that man also is known to fill the net. If he turns into Alex Kerfoot, though, that's really going to upset me.
No, he's not even close to that type of player.
No.
I'm trying to think if there was anything else that he could do that'd be like different from everybody else in a weird way. And I think he's like checked all the boxes. Like maybe colored laces.
Well, yeah,
like,
Ovi. Like Ovi, yeah.
Yeah, like other than that though, like that guy's got
tinted
it going
visor.
on. Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
yeah.
He looks such like an old school player too, you know. Like I picture that guy should have played in the 80s because that's what he looks like.
He has that vibe for sure.
He definitely has the vibe. Throwback player.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So you're listening to Split the Defense Hockey Podcast, and we have covered so far some sad news about Calgary Flames AGM Chris Snow. We've talked about Josh Norris and the Sens top six. We've gotten to the Leafs preseason, gotten through 3 games, and the injury of Bobby McMahon. Next on the list, right before we head to break, we'll get into some Leafs have gotten a little bit bigger, boys. These Leafs aren't done growing. So a tweet from Kyle Cushman shows here some Leafs who have added size versus last year's training camp measurements. Austin Matthews is 7 pounds heavier, sitting at 215 pounds and 6'3". Morgan Riley is 3 pounds heavier, which is not really notable, but it's there anyways, at 225, 6'1". Connor Timmins is 6'2" and now 206. He's up 21 pounds.
Wow.
Tyler Bertuzzi, 6'2", 200 pounds. He's grown an inch, and he's up 14 pounds. Max Domi is up. He's 5'10", 208. Holy crap, that man's a vending machine. He is, and he's up 14 pounds from last year. Like, yeah, he's put on some thickness. Good for him. Martin Jones is 6'5", 203. He's up 13 pounds, and he grew an inch, which is crazy. Sam Lafferty is 6'2", 205. He grew an inch, and he's up 11 pounds. Keith Petruzzelli, 6'6", 190 pounds, and he gained 10 pounds.
What a
the
monster.
man's a string bean.
Yeah, just imagine standing next to that
pure
guy.
muscle. He's probably just pure muscle.
I
Or
don't.
like we probably see him. He like in the locker room. He takes his shirt off. He's just like a regular Joe. Just like
Yeah.
how, but he's
What do
just
the
like so
bones
great. Like,
weigh?
but just like Phil Kessel, right? Doesn't
Right.
have to have the body. The man's just stupid strong and quick and smart and good at his
Yeah.
job. So doesn't need to have that torn up body.
To be
Crazy
honest
though,
with you,
6'6", 190. I
read those, and as soon as I saw that Martin Jones grew an inch, I was like, okay, this is fake news. There's no way. Like, what's going on here?
I know he measured an inch taller. That's crazy,
Yeah.
eh?
I did hear someone say that is technically possible if he's working out, but I was just, my initial response was like, okay, this is garbage. But yeah.
Hey, I trust Kyle Cushman. If he's tweeting this
Yeah.
stuff out, then I'm gonna take Kyle's word for it. He's
The only way I trust it though is if Kyle measured them himself. And I
well, he
feel
reported it. He's not going to go out of his way to report a lie or false
Yeah, but
news.
this was a thing in the NBA too, where like they actually did real measurements on some of the guys, and everyone's like actually 2 inches shorter than their than what's like posted on their profiles. It's a big controversy. I'm not sure how accurate this stuff is, but the pounds. I mean, it's hard to lie there. I mean, I'm sure they stepped on a scale, right? But I feel like the Martin Jones was not wearing shoes last year when he was measured, and this year he was wearing shoes.
He was just slouching a little last year. He wasn't feeling as good. And then this year he's like all confident.
Yeah, he's playing for the
standing up
Leafs
straight.
now. He's strutting.
Oh,
and he's just 1 inch taller.
Grew an inch. He's got higher hair too now. I
Yeah,
think.
that's what it is.
Yeah.
Tall hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. It could be that.
All right. So there, we are going to jump into break. You're listening to Split the Defense Hockey Podcast with your hosts Ted Evans, Craig Pearce, and I'm Jordan Webster. And after the break, we have a special guest.
Yeah.
We have Al Babcock, the owner
Yeah.
of AB3 Comedy, and more. We'll tell you about it when we're back.
Yes, we will.
We'll jump right into it, boys.
Yeah.
Sweet.
You want a little
We
music into
have
it?
Special guest Al Babcock joining us. And Al is a stand-up comedian and comedy producer from Kingston, Ontario. He is the owner of AB3 Comedy, which hosts open mics, monthly comedy shows, roasts, and charity events. Al started doing stand-up comedy in March of 2016, making his debut at Absolute Comedy Kingston. Since, Al has performed in a number of cities, clubs, bars, and back alleys across Ontario and Quebec, opening for such acts as Super Troopers, Trailer Park Boys, Kenny vs. Spenny, Insane Clown Posse, and more. But that's not all. Al is also a huge Chicago Blackhawks fan and is starting up a hockey podcast this season called Puck Your Mother, in which he's been
I love
receiving some
that.
inside tips
Beautiful.
from a successful hockey YouTuber, which we will definitely get into. So welcome,
Sweet.
Al. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
First
man.
things first, I need to ask, what are you working on for comedy these days? Where and when will your next event be held?
So lately, I've just been running a few shows out of Kingston. It's always in different places, but lately it's been Spearhead Brewery and the Hair of the Dog Barbershop, which is a barbershop slash pub. And we've
Yeah,
been
it's
running
right
shows
downtown by
there.
the ferry.
Yeah, it's a cool place. We've been running shows there at least once a month. Those have been great. So I've been taking a break from touring a bit, but I do have a couple shows coming up with Randy from the Trailer Park Boys.
Nice.
Wow.
I'm actually not sure if I was supposed to say that, but whatever.
Hey, I like it.
Insider information.
Hey,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
heard it here
dropped on the
first.
pod.
But as for locally, you can see me once a month at the barbershop and at Spearhead. Right now, actually, you've caught me at a time where I don't have any dates locked in. But if you follow me on AB3 Comedy on any of the platforms, I'm always posting. So
Right
That's
on.
awesome, man.
I live right down the road from there. I have a hat right next to me from Spearhead Brewery.
oh, sweet. Yeah.
Yeah,
We
I'll
got
have
to
to
go
come
check
check
out
you
our
out.
show.
Yeah.
Yep, definitely.
Man, and about the podcast too. We want to know a little bit about your hockey podcast. Obviously, we know you got the background, you got the jersey. You came prepared. You look better than we do, for God's sake. So, we just want to know what was it that made you want to start your own hockey podcast? And like what was it? What made you want to get into doing this kind of thing?
So I've always like obviously been a hockey fan, and I would say around when the pandemic hit, like 2020, I really started getting into hockey podcasts and YouTubers. Obviously, we were all locked down, and there was no hockey at the time, so I just wanted my hockey fix. And I ended up listening to Steve Dangle, his podcast. And at this point, I was in Oshawa. I was living in Oshawa and didn't know that I was living on the same street as him, which was kind of
Oh,
cool.
That's
Um,
yeah,
great.
wow.
yeah, I ended up meeting him at a book signing up there in Oshawa and then just kind of talking to him. But to answer your question, Steve Dangle, the SDPN, a bunch of the hockey podcasts, they just became in my regular rotation. And I was like, I want to be a guest on these. I want to do these. It's just so much fun to just talk hockey. So
That's
that's pretty
awesome.
much why I want to do it. I want to bring like a little bit of comedy to it. Um, Maybe like obviously there'll be with any podcast there's like a feeling out process. So at first it's going to
Yeah.
be pretty basic, but I think by like 10 or 20 episodes in, I want to start coming up with bits, stuff like that, just to make it a bit funnier, but also be the same as any other hockey podcast and be like informative at the same time. So
Yeah, we know that
Oh,
feeling, starting it
yeah,
out, just figuring
yeah.
it out. And yeah, obviously Puck Your Mother. I'm excited to hear the comedy aspect of that too, because it sounds immediately like it's going to be a funny show.
yeah, I ran
Yeah.
that name by Steve too, and he liked it. So
I
that
bet.
was,
Oh, that's so good.
yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, actually, Jordan and I are pretty big fans of Steve. I've been watching him for, 6, 7 years or something. So, like,
Same.
what's your connection? Like, have you been talking to him about podcast ideas or just how to run the podcast? What's that been like?
Yeah, so first of all, it's funny because like I knew who Steve Dangle was, like seeing him on SDP or on Sportsnet and stuff like that. And I kind of didn't like him because all the clips I saw were just like yelly Steve,
Yeah,
and I was like,
like right
oh,
in the
he's just
Yeah,
screen,
that
like
yeah.
yeah,
he's that Leafs fan who yells. And then finally, when I
yeah.
started listening to his podcast, I was like, oh, I like these guys. So I reached out to them when they were hiring people to do the game overs. And that's when I first like really started talking to them because I wanted to do the game over sends because they were hiring for it. So that's where I kind of started talking to them about ideas and stuff like that. And then when they came to Kingston and did their live show, they had me like set up for them. I got to work with them the whole day. So there was times where it was just me and Steve and Adam and Jesse sitting at a table for, you know, an hour. So just shooting the
Mhm.
shit. And that's where I got all my questions in and told them like my ideas. They really liked it and I've stayed in touch with them here and there ever since. I tried not to bug them too much this summer, let them get their summer in, but now I'm gonna start bugging them again.
Right. Yeah, they seem like great guys. I mean, I've heard some stories about them, and they're not just great podcasters, but they seem like legit guys too. Yeah.
Yeah, they're fun to just sit around and talk with. Like as soon as the whole podcast was over, the live podcast, the first thing we did was I sat down and I was like, "Hey Dangle, who's your favorite five wrestlers?" And then just to watch him go off for like a half an hour
All
and
right.
like do the same thing he does on the podcast in his head, but like with wrestlers. It was hilarious.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Sometimes he gets into wrestling on the pod, and I
Oh, he
mean,
loves it.
not gonna. Yeah, he can go on for a while. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah. All right, big group of Steve Dangle fans here.
yeah.
So let's roll into some Chicago Blackhawks. We have a clip of Connor Bedard. I
Yeah.
don't know if you heard this the other day, but we got to listen to it before we talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Bit, but haven't gone too much. I've been at the rink a lot and going home trying to cook or whatever and figure that out. But yeah, I think if I go out here and there, then I got recognized a little. But like I said, I've been here a lot and been home or at someone's house a good amount. So yeah.
So how's the cooking going? Because you said your mom was instrumental, early on in your career. So how are you doing it, solo or?
Yeah, I just kind of FaceTime her, put her on the counter, and she tells me what to do. So she's making it easy on me, but yeah, maybe try to be a little more independent at some point.
What are you cooking? What's you don't cook?
Just whatever. Like, I haven't cooked that much. It was just kind of something to say here, but. Yeah.
Oh my god!
What a vet!
hilarious.
Oh my, he is so,
So
good
awesome.
with the media.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
you
so
are so
amazing.
lucky to have a player like that. He is so mature for his age. Like, that was very good, especially calling himself out. He's like, yeah, like, because like you're prepared for the questions they're gonna ask you, right? But what you're not prepared for is what they are gonna ask you after you answer a question, and then you're like, crap,
Yeah.
like I just lied or made up a generic answer. Now I have to dig into this. This isn't fun. That was great. So what I wanted to ask you is Connor Bedard scored a hattie against the Wild in the rookie tournament. I know it was just a bunch of junior guys, which we already know he dominates, but how many goals are you betting on this kid to score in his rookie year? Do you think he's a win? Or do you think he's a lock to win the Calder, or do you think it's too early to make that call?
I don't think he's a lock to win the Calder just because of like this rookie class is absolutely insane. There's about five guys who you could say are Calder favorites right now, and if Bedard wasn't in like the discussion, it would be an open race. But it is Bedard's to kind of lose at this point. Like everyone has the expectations that he will be a Calder finalist at least, maybe. I think, like I just said, it is his to lose. I think he will win it. But you also got like Fantilli and Cooley also playing on top lines, just like Bedard is, so they can
And
get the
Matthew,
time.
nice.
I for goals, I say 40. I think 40.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah. I
agree
I
can
with
see
think
you.
that.
he'll be maybe a bit lighter on the assists. Like I think he's going to be around a point a game. Like that's what I think from him. And if it's still only like 60 or 70, that's not a disappointment either. This looks like it's going to be a pretty tough team to play on, to be honest. But you never know. Like players at that level, obviously McDavid's rookie season was kind of shortened, but McDavid, Kane, Matthews, all these guys came in and made an immediate impact. I think he's going to do the same.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
could see that too, and I think Matthews. We've got a clip from him. He had a really great thing to say on Bedard as well that we wanted to play.
About his opening game.
4 goals in his first game.
I'm sure you can get 6. I don't know.
So yeah, you get I think you can get 4 goals in his first game. So, yeah, I think he gets 6. That's so good. And now obviously moving away from Bedard, because we could go on and on about this guy. But the Blackhawks have made a few additions this season that really suggest they're going to look more competitive. For instance, Taylor Hall, Nick Foligno, and obviously besides Connor, who are you most excited to see as a Blackhawk for this season?
Corey Perry.
That's the guy that I wanted the Leafs to get. So
I was just looking over at the Blackhawks game right now, and Corey Perry's sitting in the penalty box. I'm like, yep, he's arrived. This is
He's
awesome.
home.
Just because like I think Corey Perry and Nick Foligno will be just good vets to have in the room more than anything. They'll protect Bedard a little bit. I think those were really good moves. Taylor Hall, I actually played ball hockey with. I went to high school with him.
Me too.
So yeah, so it was kind of cool. It was kind of cool to see him go to my team. And I think like they've only been doing scrimmages and rookie camps until now, but they've had awesome chemistry so far. So I think things are looking good. They got a lot of rookies, but beyond the like 5 people Ted mentioned and Connor Bedard, like this is not a good team. Our starting goalie is Peter Mrazek.
Yeah, we know about Peter Mrazek.
That's gonna be awful.
Yeah, I think it was the smart thing to do to get some vets in that room, though, right? It's nice to have your young guys, but like you need to have somebody, and I think getting Foligno and Perry was perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Just character guys, grit guys. Yeah, they need. I think they're just going to wait a couple more years through the draft. They actually have a few good prospects: Oliver Moore, Kevin Korchinski. We'll see how they all, pan out. But I think they're pretty much going to go with the youth movement here. Because the thing
Yeah.
about, like, I think this is pretty much the team they're going to have for most of the season, unless they try to add somehow. Because Perry and Foligno, both $4 million deals. So even if you try to move that at the deadline, no one's going to take that.
Well, you
So
could, because at the deadline it'll be $2 million, right? And then you
yeah,
can retain half, so they're more like $1 million on the cap.
But
You can squeeze that in around that time. Those are
if
very
there's a
movable
team,
contracts.
yeah, if there's a team that wants to take them on, I
true.
would take on Perry.
Fair, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if they have the room, right? Because usually teams that want to add a player uh, don't have that much room to work with. So
True.
Yeah,
Very true.
I think that's like similar to what like the Leafs have done in the past though. With like you add someone who's a vet, they don't have to be like someone who's really a game changer, but they're more there for the presence, right? So
seems like
they might
that's what
fit the
they're
bill.
doing with Reeves, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Absolutely.
All right.
So, Al, Ted
yeah,
told me that you stay up to date with all the stories around the league. We've got a few topics left on our show. Do you got
sweet.
time to hang around and chat with us, or do you got to go?
Yeah, for sure. I'd love to.
All right, we'll
Yeah.
stick
Awesome.
around. We'll jump into some other non-Blackhawks and whatever, but I do have one more kind of Blackhawks related question that we should all input in on. Where do we think Patrick Kane is going to sign? Now, it's been said that he's been living in Toronto right now, and Buffalo has been named as the main suitor. So what do you guys think? Let's start with Al.
I think Buffalo is like, yeah, it's the easy choice because he's from there. That was his childhood team. They have cap room, so they could actually give him a couple million instead of him playing for league min or whatever. So that seems to fit. I think he's gonna like. No one knows how his hip is doing right now. Really, he says he's good, but that was a hip surgery. We don't know how he's gonna look when he comes back. I think he's gonna wait till about December and decide. And then
That's fair.
I think he's waiting for the standings, see how it pans out, and then he's going to sign
Yeah.
somewhere. But I guess to answer your question, I'll take the easy answer and say Buffalo.
The number one suitor? Yeah. Okay, fair
Yeah,
enough. The easy bet.
yeah,
Cop out.
yeah. Oh, if not, I see him going to like LA or something.
Oh, that's a wild card. Okay.
I like it.
Well, I've seen videos of him working out that his agency has been pushing to show that Kane is ready and he's nearing a return kind of thing. But yeah, I think December's probably a smart bet for a timeline. What about you, Craig? What do you think?
I mean, yeah, I think Buffalo is obviously like it's a kind of the favorite, like but I have heard stuff about Detroit. He seems to that comes up quite often. So, and I guess and I agree. It's like he's gonna look at the standings come December. He probably will have 2 or 3 teams that he'll be okay going to. But yeah, I think like he's training in Toronto. I'm not sure like that's ever a possibility, but I think that it's probably going to be like Detroit or the favorite Buffalo.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
What about you, Teddy?
I mean, I think there was times where I even saw the Avs come up as a possible place, but I don't think that's doesn't seem too likely anymore with all the moves we've done in Denver. I don't know if we need. I mean, it's not like we don't need Patrick Kane. Like, sure, we'd take him on.
Who wouldn't?
I would not exactly. But yeah, I think realistically, Buffalo. But Detroit would be a cool one too. I hadn't thought about that too. See him in another red colored jersey.
Wild card. He goes back to Chicago.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Plays with Bedard.
Let's be serious here, guys. Cagliano's going to get traded. He's going to sign with the Leafs.
Oh, is that your pick?
I would honestly love that. I would love that.
Yeah, well, we'll
would be
see
cool.
what happens. So speaking of injuries and injured players, actually, you tweeted this, Al, is where I stole it from. I stole it. We got a picture of it, too, we can run here. The notable players likely to miss time at the start of the season. And out of that is Jack Quinn, Andrei Svechnikov, Aaron Ekblad, Brandon Montour, Christian Dvorak, Jake Gensel, Logan Couture, and Max Pacioretty. So which player is going to be missed most by their team? Craig,
I think that the team that's going to get the most out of this list is Florida. They're missing their two best defensemen here. So, but who's going to be missed the most? I'll probably still go there. One of the two. Montour. I'll pick Montour. But, yeah, Florida is definitely going to be hurting on the back end here because that's going to be a weak decor, I think.
Yeah, you can pick one or the other because you can say Brandon Montour because Aaron Ekblad's out. Or Aaron Ekblad
right.
because Brandon Montour's out. I mean, if the other one was there,
exactly.
It might be all right. But, yeah, that's a good answer. All right. What about you, Teddy?
I'll go with Svech. I think he's a big guy to be missing just because of his high skill level.
Carolina needs all the scoring power they can get. They don't exactly light the lamp. What do you think, Al? Who's going to be missed the most?
I'm not really sure how long all these guys are out for, but I would say Aaron Ekblad is pretty big. Like you guys said, but the top defense, that's terrible. But also on here, Jake Gensel, he's a good player. He's an underrated player, and
very underrated. Yeah.
These next 2 or 3 years is kind of do or die for Pittsburgh. So I don't know. I think he's a really good player. They'll miss him.
Yeah, that's fair. I totally agree. That was going to be my pick too. It was probably Gensel. Yeah. He's he I don't know. He's not an easily replaceable player, even though he was one of the Mark Donk, Buzz Flibbit guys. But guys that Pittsburgh just brings up and it's Mark Donk and Buzz Flibbit on Evgeny Malkin's wings, and Mark Donk to Buzz Flibbit to Malkin to Mark Donk, and he scores. And Mark Donk ends up with 20 goals and 45 points somehow.
Yeah.
That's.
I feel like that's why Gensel and same with Brian Rust, how why they don't get much credit is just because everyone considers them just because Crosby makes them a good player. But I think Crosby, if he needs some wingers as well. So yeah, I liked that pick there.
Crosby has played with some really odd wingers over his career though, Pascal Dupuis.
So true. Yeah, Kunitz.
Yeah.
That's who immediately came to mind. That's
interesting
good
enough. All right, so this was a fun one. Calgary won the other night in their first preseason game, 10-0 against the Canucks. The Canucks before the game, they tweet, "We're so back." Someone tweeted after 7 goals, "You're so not." And quote tweeted it with their post "Oh, that's so bad." That game, we had players like Kadri, Huberdeau, Rasmus Anderson, Leaf legend Dryden Hunt, and Dylan Dubé. Noah Hannafin was also in the game. Kadri scored once, Huberdeau scored twice, and then a whole bunch of guys that, we do know, don't know. Coronado scored a hat trick, so that's kind of cool. No, don't really expect that. Ostrelay, Jones, Zary, whole bunch of guys lit them up. But what do you even do after that preseason game except for go out and celebrate? Because how's the coach going to coach you guys after that? You literally played a perfect game. What, do you expected to score more goals? No. You're going to keep more goals out? No. I guess maybe if they could limit chances even more, but you're getting nitpicky at that point, don't you think? Shit.
I'm surprised this didn't make a turn towards me. I thought you were just gonna make this a Canucks thing, and
oh yeah, we know you're first to jump on it and talk about it though. That's it's obvious. Yeah, Craig's got the thing. Go ahead, Craig.
Oh god. Okay, so they don't count. They don't count at all.
Yeah.
10-0 though, man. That says something.
You have to read into that somehow, right?
Yeah. Okay. 2-0, 3-0. Yeah. That's understandable. It's like a guy's plus minus, right? If a guy's -4, +4, you don't read much into that. But when he's +30 or -30, then you're okay, that's a valuable stat.
Yeah.
It's just become valuable. Plus 4 minus 4, you're like, it's a wash. It doesn't matter, because the things change and you're on the ice, you're off the ice, and whatever have you. But 10 fucking goals, boys. That's a good game. There's nothing to coach for you. Coaches are just like, all right, I guess I'm buying beers tonight. Let's go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Half those guys
Straight
probably
up.
couldn't even drink. Like, I don't even know if they were old enough. Oh, Igor Sharangovich was there too from the New Jersey Devils, who they just picked up.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
More Calgary Flames news, though. Michael Backlund has been signed to a 2-year contract extension and has been named the 21st captain in franchise history.
Okay.
Backlund played his entire 908-game NHL career in Calgary and is the longest tenured active skater on the Flames, with his NHL debut coming back on January 8, 2009. Backlund was first named an assistant captain during the 17-18 season and has worn an A on his jersey for the past 6 years. Backlund is the first captain of the Flames since the 2020-2021 season, and his 2-year deal holds a cap hit of $4.5 million per year. Great deal for both sides.
Yeah. That's solid. And that's the guy, right? That seems like the obvious choice in Calgary.
I think it makes sense. There's probably a few other guys that you could have given it to, but I mean, with the 2-year deal and maybe we're not sure if Backlund wants to stay or go, whatever. Maybe he won't be the captain in a couple of years and one of the young guys will be. So who knows, right?
Do you think this was part of the negotiation?
100%.
Yeah, he demanded the captaincy and they gave it to him. I mean, good for him. He probably thinks that the room hasn't been led very well, and I mean good on him. He deserves it. Sometimes you have to ask for a promotion,
The only problem with that is don't you think that it's kind of better when you earn the job, and not just for your own pride, but for the fact that what if he doesn't have the room? You have to have the room, right? If you don't have the guys listening to you already, then you know what I mean? If it's just more of a power move in your contract, it's got to be more than just that. Like, he had to have already been the active captain. He's worn an A for 6 seasons. So there's got to be more than just, he needed it to sign this 2-year deal. There's more to it than that. It's actually him doing the work in the room, I think.
Yeah, I think it was more of like they're waiting for him to commit to the team. He committed. Here's the C. Like, it's been yours this whole time, kind of thing. Now that you're signed, here it is. Like,
I guess.
I think he's already the captain in the room. He seems really liked by the fans and the players. And another one of those, like I was talking about with Gensel, another one of those really underrated guys.
So you think it was more of they signed the contract and then they gave him the captaincy and there wasn't much talk about it during the contract? Is that what
I
you
think it was. I don't know if like the captaincy was like a negotiating tactic. I think it was more of like an unspoken thing. Like, if you're gonna sign here, you get the captaincy.
Yeah,
I think that's more like it. Yeah,
like that's
fair.
It could also just be like right on the.
Sorry, go ahead. There's a couple players that you could have said, like, sorry. There's a couple players like Huberdeau, and but he just got there. Uyghur just got there. This guy's been there for a while. He would know the room. Yeah, Kadri, exactly. Still just got there. Like, obviously, if you want to go in a new direction and give those guys the leadership, that's cool. But this guy's been there the longest, probably knows the city the best. It's a good pick.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. So last week, this is a little bit old news, but Jacob Voracek has joined Jaromir Jagr's Kladno pro hockey team as an assistant coach.
I like this, yeah.
34-year-old Jacob Voracek sustained a concussion on November 4th, 2022 in a game against the Colorado Avalanche. And that was his 7th or 8th by his own account. He has now made a quick pivot to return to his own country of Czechia to be the assistant coach of the Jaromir Jagr-owned Kladno Knights.
Nice.
Here's the kicker. Jaromir Jagr, at age 51, is returning for his 35th pro season.
That man just won't stop. I swear, it's hilarious. It was the first thing that jumped out at me. I was like, Voracek's 34. Yager's been playing for 35 years, and yeah, that's just hilarious. But I mean, I'm glad that Voracek's. I mean, it's very sad that I guess he's played his last game, but yeah, he's good that he's got a second career and he gets to go home, and I mean, you get to hang in with Jaromir Jagr every day.
Yeah, I guess that's a good way to look at it. Do you think he's going to end up trying to be a coach in the NHL? You think that's why he went over there to learn to coach?
Yeah. I think this was the easiest spot for him to get a start, and yeah, I think one day you'll see him maybe back in the NHL as a coach.
He's gonna want to play for the team, but yeah, he might be the coach.
Yeah, he might be able to play still. Just like
Voracek.
Yeah, I mean, he's only 34. He could probably be coaching in the NHL before he's 40. So,
sorry, I misunderstood. I was saying Jagr.
Yeah.
If
Jagr comes over to coach and then he plays
Jagr
for the team. Yeah.
Right.
If Jagr could play for an NHL team, one would take him. He would play.
Oh yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So what about you, Ted? Do you think Voracek's going to come back over and end up being a coach, or do you think he's going to stay over there and end up coaching one of those teams in Czechia? Because I think he's from Czechia, right? He's a European. Yeah. He's not from North America. So do you think that's his end goal?
I mean, that's something a lot of players do, right? They come and do their career over here, like working, playing, and then when they're done, they get that chance to go back home and do things within hockey or within other aspects of the game while living at home, having that professional aspect, and getting to hang out with guys like Jaromir Jagr. And maybe he develops a really good position within that club and makes a good name. So I know, I think he maybe stays at home.
Yeah, it's not really about the money either, because he played the NHL,
he's
so
made
he's very, very rich. We're very, very rich.
Only 34 too. Like, he's got all the time in the world, so he can spend a few years at home, and then maybe if he does well, NHL job opens up for him. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, lots of time for sure.
I'm not sure also if he's got a family. Maybe it's close to home. He can raise his family where he grew up, and then after 10 years go by and somewhere else.
That's right.
Total
I'm sure we'll hear that name in the hockey world quite a bit.
All right. Well, Al, thank you very much for joining us here on Split the Defense Hockey Podcast. We've really enjoyed talking to you and listening to your perspective on everything else in the league and hearing about what's going on. We will definitely check you out at Spearhead Comedy. Coming up soon. You let us know when that's happening, and definitely hair of the dog, because I need a new barber, so I'm going to be going to check those guys out. So you let me know.
Sweet.
Go down there, crack a pint, because they got a bar. Have a pint down there, get your hair cut, nice fade, hang out, listen to Al. So follow this guy, Puck Your Mother on Twitter, and AB3 Comedy.
Yeah,
sweet.
That's right.
Thanks a lot for having me, guys. This was fun.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Great having you, Al. Great to meet you as well.
Appreciate it. Yeah, you too.
All right, boys. So let's wrap up the show. Dude. Thanks, everybody, for listening to us here on Split the Defense Hockey Podcast. We will catch you all again on Monday night. Bye-bye for now.
See ya.
You've been listening to
Split the Defense,
where Jordan Webster, Ted Evans, and Craig Pearce talk about the NHL and all things hockey.
Split the Defense
Can be found wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. It's also broadcasted on Amherst Island Radio, 101.3 FM, and online at CJAI.CA.